All right, and we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel today again with another episode of, oh man, I'm not in the center, of BackerQuest. BackerQuest is an every other week show that we do here on Plus One EXP, where we look at some of the newest games that have come out on Kickstarter, itch, or are launching in web stores right now. Also, new to this week, though I have not opened it up yet, so don't do it. We have a new function here that we are going to be giving away a copy of a game that is live on itch. Whether we featured it already, whether it just came out, whether we're talking about it in some other capacity. Today, that game we are going to be giving away is Anyone Can Wear the Mask by Jeff Stormer. That's at the link right below my face right now. If you're watching us live on Twitch, you'll be able to enter into a chance to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask, which Jeff has been itch funding, and we're going to talk a little bit more about itch funding as we go also too, but I want to thank Jeff for being willing to give away a copy here. And then if you go retweet either the announcement post of the launch of this stream on Twitter or the post that I put up earlier today right now at Plus One EXP, you can get entered into a chance to win another copy. So thanks to Jeff for being willing to give away a couple copies of games. We'll be featuring different itch specific games here every other week on BackerQuest that we'll be giving away copies of, and Jeff was the first person to step forward and say he was willing to do that, though some other people have said so also. Chatbot's being a little weird right now, but I'll open that up on our Twitch stream in just 1 second for people to be able to enter. So we'll talk a little bit more about Anybody Can Wear a Mask kind of halfway through, but let's start out by just looking at Kickstarter. I've got up here the most recently launched games on Kickstarter. I just typed in RPG. I want to demonstrate something else. So if I typed in RPG, here are all the games I get. It's a mix of tabletop RPGs. It's a mix of video games. There's a lot of different projects that will get pulled in for just RPG. If you put in ttrpg, which is going to be less common for people to potentially search, it refines it a whole lot more to smaller indie games. Just an interesting thing. So think about how you're including both of those things in your searchable nature if you're going to be on Kickstarter. I already went through and pulled up the games we're going to be looking at today, but if you're watching right now, you have a recommendation for a game you'd like me to look at, talk about the page, talk about the project, go ahead and drop it into the chat pretty much wherever you're watching, and I'll be happy to give that a shout out. In just 1 second, we're going to open up the opportunity to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask on Twitch also too, if you're watching us there. So if you want to hop on over, feel free to. But let's go ahead and look at our first project while I also get Chatbot to finish updating so we can do that giveaway. You can also go check out the game, jeffstormer.itch.io/mask. We also did an actual play of it on stream a little while ago and have a review coming up soon. This is one that I saw somebody tweet out about earlier today. It looked really interesting. It's called Fly Softly. It is a solar punk game about butterfly hybrids sowing the future one seed at a time. It does have a video. Let's watch the first minute of the video, kind of see what the creator here did for Fly Softly.
Hi, I'm Kira McGran. This is my Kickstarter. Welcome. I'm a queer, non-binary, disabled game designer living in Columbus, Ohio. This game started 2 years ago when I first planted milkweed in my backyard, and monarch butterflies appeared like magic, and I fell deeply in love with them. I want the whole world to love them as much as I do. Fly Softly is a solar punk game where you play half human, half butterfly hybrids called sim monarchs, and you travel from futuristic West Virginia all the way south to Michoacan, Mexico. On the journey, you'll help humans, ghosts, mutants, plants, animals, insects, all kinds of critters who are in need of your special talents. The journey itself is about doing something and about caring. I hope you'll join me.
Awesome. All right, so that is Fly Softly. And apparently, Chatbot is having a problem connecting to my Twitch stream right now, so I'm going to try to work that in just 1 second. But we will go ahead and sally forth and see if I can get that taken care of before the end of the stream, because I don't know what's going on with it. We'll figure out another way to let people enter if not. So Fly Softly, like she said, is a tabletop role-playing game that follows monarch butterfly people, semi-monarchs. It does, Trouser Mouse, look very nice. You may be it may have been in the Wander Home Discord that I saw this. It may have been you posting about it actually that brought this to my attention. So solar punk oftentimes will look at themes of environmental stability, people living in harmony with nature, and other themes of sustainability. The concept of human butterfly hybrids is super interesting to me. I like this art. It's simple. It's evocative. I think what really caught me on this one, I love how they name their touch points. I love the personal reality of this story that Kira is sharing. But the setting is very cool. And then the other thing that really caught me in some more of this art, right, were the playbooks. And this is my favorite one. I want to play a technician, can synthesize complexities, understand supernatural biology, and taste things to analyze them. That's the technician playbook in this system. It just looks really cool. I just really like the idea of this system where it's a hopeful system. You're making the world better. And you're a butterfly person. And these 5 playbooks that are listed out right here are just very evocative, fun, unique playbooks. The concept of being butterfly hybrids and having to kind of like migrate, north and south. It's a very fun idea. And I think it's a really cool project. It's already funded well. Kira's done a couple projects before. They are, an established creator. Just lots of little things about this game that I like. I like when people show me who they are. We've gone over this before on things. Kira's no pronouns. So I really like the work that I see Kira doing here, and just think it's something that is absolutely great. I'm not familiar with Elijah, but the art here, like I said, I've really enjoyed just kind of the simplicity of it. And looking forward to it. Gadfly Cafe loves the concept of backerquest. Hope you keep it up. I will be. Like I said, we're doing things to make it better. Every other week is great for me. It gives plenty of time for new projects to come up. If we see a lot of projects coming up, I might add in some extra ones, but we're just going to keep on going every other week for right now. And we started having people sponsor us who have games on itch. So right now, you in just a second will be able to enter into a chance to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask, if I can get that to work properly. We'll give it away either way, but I'll try to figure out how to make my chat bot work properly. So doing little things to make the stream better and better all the time, make it something that people are excited to tune into. But this has been, I said this first one was Fly Softly, a solar punk game about butterfly hybrids sowing the future one seed at a time. I think it looks really cool. I think y'all should go check it out. If I was going to back this game, and I'm not saying I won't, I'm just saying I've got to be way more mindful of my budget now that I'm doing this on air, because I tend to want to back everything, and the on air thing makes me want to click that button. So I think when I start talking about what I would back things at if I have not already backed them, rather than putting that on myself as a responsibility, I would 100%, I think, want the full version of this game. US 20 isn't too high. I think it's actually a really good value for the game. I think this is where a lot more games at this weight should be coming in as far as cost goes. But I just love that there's a $5 level with support, $20 for the game, really simple backing levels. I would go in for physical on this one without a doubt. And like I said, it's already funded very well. Next one, yeah, we got sponsorships. We got people who are like, "Can I give your stuff away?" And we'll call it a sponsorship. This one's called "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream." So lately, if you've been paying attention, there has been this thing called Business Not Pleasure, or Pleasure Not Business Jam, and it's a business card ttrpg jam. And it has been a really cool thing to just see the different people putting up things for this project. I really want to get mine in there, but I have not had a chance to yet. Itch jams are a very common thing. We'll actually talk about an itch jam project that's about to go live in April that we're major participants in. But this has been a really cool one. I love small games. I love games you can carry around in your wallet. I like the idea actually of going to a convention, and I've wanted to just gamify the exchange of business cards at conventions for a long time. I like the idea of having two, one that is your adventure that you give other people, and then one that is your dungeon that other people must defeat. And having both business card sides, I think, would be a very cool way, because I would custom print business cards for every con I went to, whenever cons happen again, if there was that option to say we're gonna gamify every exchange of business cards we have. Anyways, That's the kind of jam. Is it's just business card size games. I have no mouth and I must scream. I just really actually put this on up because Bo told me that they had popped it up yesterday, and we had a great conversation about safety tools in games. But it's about the process of experiencing pain. You can see everything you need to about the game right here, but it's a cathartic game about pain. It's just a couple D6 rolls and then drawing a picture to process your experience of ongoing pain and what might be causing it. I just like the concept of the way that Bo talks about games. And then also I wanted to shout out the Pleasure Not business card jam also too. So go check this out. It's a name your own price. A lot of the card games for Pleasure Not business card jam have been name your own price. It's a cool thing happening on itch right now that I would encourage people to look across and specifically look at I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Bo. Okay, this is our first kind of big game for this. Let me refresh the page here real quick. I looked at this game a lot. The algorithm on Facebook has decided that it wants to keep on drawing my attention to this game. What actually originally pushed me off is I just don't play a lot of 5e stuff, but then I realized this is actually a Monty Cook game process. This is actually primarily Cypher system, but they did 5e support, and there's actually a set of house rules in the game itself to let your players from any system come into the world of the Darkest House. It's a horror RPG, but it's also been geared for online experiences. I'm going to hit play on this video so we can watch a little bit of it while I try to work on getting Chatbot to be friendly again.
All worlds touch the house. The house has an origin wrapped in pain, longing, and misery. The house is older than most of the worlds it intrudes upon. Perhaps it is an infection that spreads throughout the worlds. Perhaps it is an entity constantly worming and seeping its way into new universes. Perhaps the worlds need the house somehow. Perhaps it is where they store away their own pain, emptiness, and misery. The Darkest House is a digital product designed specifically to the needs of running and playing games online, and built to take a maximum advantage of that mode of play. Think of it like an RPG book reimagined to be as useful as possible in the online environment. Every image and map is conveniently shareable and downloadable. Each encounter is formatted to your screen, giving you everything you need in a single view. Text to share with the players is easily copied with a single click. A rich network of hyperlinks makes navigation simple and intuitive.
No.
Okay, so normally I'm going to give people a minute. I'm going to give this one a little bit longer because this game is doing some really cool stuff with online play that I really like seeing, and I want to point it out a little bit. So we're not going to go through the whole thing, but I do want to watch this next little segment where Monty is playing with some people to demonstrate some of the cool stuff that they're doing. It could be done via a Discord or a Slack. But anyways, let's keep on going.
Oh my God, that's so awful.
Yeah, and here is what she looks like.
So they're using Slack as the tool.
Oh,
Monty's able to show everybody, here's what the creature looks like. Right?
But it gets worse. She pulls one of those skeletal things clinging to her, and she hurls it at you, Charles. As it flies down the stairway, its little skeletal hands are grabbing in the air. And you're going to have to make a roll to avoid being hit by this.
Okay. All right, I have an 8 and a rating of 4, so that's 12, and the house does not act.
Okay, so what he just did was he dropped into one character as a message that you hear a whisper saying this, right? And now that character has heard a whisper. It's just a really good use of like the Discord and Slack structure to say, hey, yeah, we can't all gather around a table right now, but we've actually embraced this model of play. I really love seeing some of the bigger designers start to get on that. This Discord has Ghost and some of its subsequent RPG children, I feel like really kind of forges the way into that conversation. But it's cool to see some larger companies that can put some money into things, be able to do some really great information-rich things. I would love to get a look at this. I like Monty Cook games. I like the Cypher system. I backed a lot of their Cypher system stuff. It's not a game system I've ever run or gotten a chance to play in. Maybe we'll do that sometime on the channel. It's got a high price for entry for a digital only product. But I always want people to understand, like, there's a lot of digital only products that I like that have a high barrier entry because they represent the amount of development that went into doing it well. I think $45 is actually pretty reasonable for this, especially since it's something you're going to be able to share with your party also too. So they're essentially like losing control of a digital project as far as party access to a certain degree. Once they open it up that way. It's a very cool idea. Like I said, it kind of bopped me off originally because it was pushing the 5e compatible on most of the ads that I received, which again, there's nothing against 5e. It's just not a system I play in. If it had bled with Cypher, I would have clicked on it immediately to check out what Monty Cook was doing with this project. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's actually designed to be able to drop into whatever game you're playing. You can drop the house into there. There's a way to port your characters into it, explore some of their experiences, and then pull them back out. There's a preview version of it, like you can try it out a little bit on the page itself. There's just some really cool things that they're doing with this, and even as we go, hopefully within the course of the next couple of years, back to sitting around a table and playing with other people. It's cool to be able to have options for distant play that are specifically geared that way. And again, like having this, like you can go ahead and try it now option on here is very, very cool. So I downloaded these earlier. I'm going to pop them up for play later on and kind of just poke around inside of it. But I'm not a huge horror genre fan either, but I would 100% play this. And I know like Monty is actually just really, really good at horror as a facilitator and a GM also too. So I'd be really interested to see what Monty has done with this property and with this idea. And so if you haven't had a chance to check out The Darkest House yet, give it a look, check it out. The one I've been excited to talk about for the last week, I would have loved to have done this game. I would have loved to have launched this episode of BackerQuest yesterday because I am so excited about this project. I've already backed it. I backed it at the $50 level. It's Possible Worlds, an RPG subscription box. Possible Worlds is by our friend of the channel, Taylor. Taylor was on a couple of weeks ago. We did a prestige class with Taylor talking about what Taylor's preferences around game design, how he got involved with it, the move to being a full-time game designer at this new studio in Pittsburgh called Possible Worlds. This is their flagship project. It is a game box subscription. It is not like we're going to curate different games and then send you a box of them each month like a lot of other subscription boxes. It is games that Possible Worlds are designing and sending to you one a month digitally. And then you have the option, if you want to purchase them all in a box set at the end of a 6-month period they'll send out. They'll do this a couple times a year. It's their second day of Kickstarter. They're getting right up around 30%, which is where we want to see it. I would love to see this number go higher. Like I'd love to see this number go higher right now while we're on stream. I would love for, if you have not backed this game, for you to go back it right now. Possible Worlds RPG subscription box. I love this opening piece also too. When I write RPGs, I don't just design them for gamers. I design them for farmers. I was strongly encouraging Tyler to do a farmers only crossover with this, try to see if they could get some synergy going, but I don't think he opted for that. But the reason is that he designs game with his younger brother in mind. His younger brother isn't somebody who's necessarily into tabletop RPG culture or going to own weird dice. He is a farmer, but he's a great storyteller. So when Tyler is designing games, he wants something that somebody who's a great storyteller, who's not into RPG culture, could love, as well as people who are active gamers. And that is such a great design mindset and a great way to be approaching things. Here are pictures of the outside of all of the different games that you're going to get in this subscription. Here's a kind of a drawn mock-up of what the box, if you get the print version, will look like. They're all about 25 pages. Tyler also did Beak, Feather, Bone, which we're going to talk about kind of in our mid broadcast. Trouser Mess says this is so good. This looks great. Wish UK shipping wasn't so expensive on the whole. Love physical books. I'm really hoping with what Tyler is doing that he will be able to figure out international shipping and a UK distribution partner. I don't have any control over that, but I think we're going to see Possible games becoming more and more accessible to other parts of the world, because Tyler really is building this out very consistently as a game company, looking to make it a full-time gig. That's a big part of what this is. So it's not baked into the explanation of this, but this is about helping make sure somebody can become a full-time game designer also too, which is something I'm very, very excited about. And I think we'll see more international support come with that. Beak Feather Bone, though, which was a breakout game last year on Zine Quest. We've got the dating sim game, a lighthearted romance RPG that emulates dating simulation video games and visual novels. It's got this really cool, like, first round you're this, second round you're that. Grandpa's Farm, a letter writing RPG for one or more players inspired by games like Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing. Hounds, a dice stacking RPG about the bond between pilot and their AI linked mech companion. Scene Thieves, a trope-style diceless RPG where players improvise a theater performance while their characters perform a heist in the background, which, oh my gosh. And then Single Unique Power, SUP, a cast building setting creation game where players collaboratively create superpowered characters and factions. Wishless, an RPG. Once upon a time, every living person was given 3 wishes. You've already used yours, but the rest of the world might still have theirs. In search of unused wishes, barter with the GM to determine the NPC's wishes you're aware of and which ones remain a mystery. Those are the first 6 games we're going to be looking at. And so I'm just super excited about it. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you. I am super excited to I think we're going to have it in a couple weeks on at some point. Tyler, come on before the end of the campaign and play one of these games with us. If you're out there, if you're a regular member of the Brain Trust or you're part of our +1 cast or just a fan and you want to come on and play one of these games with us in the future, let me know. Shoot me a message later on. But just a really phenomenal thing. You can support them at $1, get one digital game, get a digital subscription for $25, or get the print subscription for $50. Shipping fees will be collected via backer kit. And Trouser Mouse, I would ask, if there's plans for UK shipping or partnerships. I don't know that there are, but I would certainly go and comment on the page back at some level, even $1, and ask. Tyler's just done some really cool stuff. Jeff says the Possible Worlds Kickstarter is one of the most astoundingly well put together Kickstarters I've seen in indie RPGs. Absolutely great concept, fresh stuff. Really solid. I like I said, I put this one in the middle because I really want to encourage people to go check it out and make sure they do. So this is Possible Worlds. It's an RPG subscription box. Hey, it's got up a little bit while we've been here. I'm going to hit refresh. If you haven't backed it yet at any level, go back it right now at least $1. He's done a phenomenal job helping engage people, doing the marketing, doing engagement. This is a campaign to study if you're a designer. Absolutely. And look, no video. That's okay. Like Tyler didn't put energy into that. It's okay. This project is so well done, and it would have been hard to do this concept justice in a 1 to 2 minute video. I think this was the right choice on this campaign. Tyler also just tossed out at me the Beak Feather Bone campaign is a map labeling game from last year, but Tyler just did a Beak Feather Bone jam. Tyler had released an SRD, a system reference document. These are all the different games that just came out that were based on Tyler's games. I know some of the people who have made some of these games. There's some really phenomenal games on here, things that deal with online communities, things that deal with time travel, things that deal with all kinds of different small communities, how they build, how they emerge, all based on the Beak Feather Bone SRD. So if you want to see the kind of great things Tyler is doing in the community, you can go right now and look at Possible Worlds, but you can also go and look at the BFB jam and check out other great things that have come into the community because of Tyler's work. Just another thing I wanted to shout out. On there. I want to take a second again to thank our sponsor. I cannot get Chatbot to talk, so here's what I'm going to say. If you're watching anywhere right now, just with the number of viewers we have, I don't think this is going to be a problem. Just type in ! Mask. Wherever you're watching right now, if you want to get entered into a chance to roll, to win a copy of Jeff Stormer, Anyone Can Wear the Mask. You're just going to type in ! Mask wherever you're watching. That's going to let me know that you would like to win that copy, and I'll just roll a dice or use a random number generator at the end and pick one of the people based on that. So if you want to win a copy of that game, type it in. But I would just encourage you also go check it out. Anyone Can Wear the Mask is the link's right below my face, actually the screen right now. Jeff was really great to give away a copy of this on stream today. Jeff is also really kind of, I think, the pioneer of what we are coming to know as itch funding. Maybe not the first person to ever do it, but certainly the first person in my friend circle has done a really good job pushing it forward. Starfish Killer, if you want me to take you off, type in ! Unmask, because you said you already have the game. I heard this game played. Jeff was talking about this game. I wanted to Blackout. We've had Jeff on the channel to play it. I got to listen to I had a great time listening to him play with James D'Amato on the One Shot podcast. Basically, Jeff put this game out and said, here's the base game. Here's everything you need to play. Here's the minimum viable project. And then said, hey, but every time we get to some of these levels, just like you would see on a Kickstarter, we're going to add these things. So at $750, we'll have enough money to pay for internal art in the game. At $1,750, we'll write and release a set of pre-built scenarios, information on power sets, other things like that. At $2,750, they were able to commission an audiobook, which I'm super excited about. At $4,250, they're going to be able to commission 5 new pre-built example scenarios. A lot of amazing things that were just set up like a Kickstarter. And it was just like, hey, whenever we get to these points, we're going to improve the game in this way, which I love. I love it's not just a product that Jeff threw up and said, I've got the minimum viable product. I'm going to make whatever money I make on it. But being very transparent about what can happen when people do this is incredibly, incredibly beautiful. And we've been talking a lot about itch funding lately, which we'll talk a little bit more about in the second half today, funding things on itch. And Jeff, again, like I said, has really helped lead the way in some of that. And it's really about saying it's a place we're already putting our work. It's a place where we continue to improve our work with the community of followers, other designers, people who follow our work specifically and who want to buy our products. But we can also apply better marketing principles than we can apply on some other platforms. And so I would really encourage you, if you haven't yet, hit exclamation point, mask, to win it. Anyone else can wear it. Anyone can win it. Anyone can win the mask also too. But if you want to go ahead and back it, just buy it, you can do that, but we'll pick a winner after we're done too. I'll just roll a dice or use a random number generator to pick that. And we'll remind people before the end of the show to go ahead and do that again. It may take me a moment at the end to tally all that stuff up, but thanks, Jeff, for being willing to do this with us. If you also can go retweet that we're on live right now and get entered into a chance to win a copy if you want that second one, or just go do it because you love it. You get it at +1EXP on Twitter and let people know. Tales of the Smoking Worm. This is the third one. I think I became aware of Tales on the second edition that they were putting out. It is a zine exploring worlds of dungeon crawl classic RPGs with new patrons, new classes, magic, and more. I always think with OSR, it's always a question of like, are you going to be system specific? Are you going to go OSE, Dungeon Crawl Classics, another retro clone, BX, whatever, or are you going to go more generic? And I always just think it's interesting when people lean into a certain system. Here they've leaned in to DCC, which I think is probably, of all the ones, if people love DCC, they love it. If they don't love DCC, they don't play a lot of it. Or they may never have played it at all. And so it's really interesting whenever I see people do it, but it's a very galvanizing system. I like Dungeon Crawl Classics. I don't play it a lot. I am this Saturday night going to be raising money for survivors of sexual assault here on stream, playing an 80s horror themed version of DCC where you're playing as teenagers crawling through a town. And every single time one of our characters dies, I will be increasing the amount that I am donating and inviting other people to increase the amount that they are donating to WAVA, which is a very cool organization up in Vancouver, British Columbia, that helps support people. I'm trying to look for my image that has that on it right now, and I can't find it for whatever reason. But if you want to come back and watch that Saturday night, please do. Please, please, please do. Would love to have you join us on Saturday night for that stream, just as a watcher, to help raise money for that cause. Or if you're interested in playing, we still have about 2 spots left. My friend Quinn from Authenticity Trip on Twitter is going to come play, and my friend Diana is going to come play. We're playing with the creator Zog, who works with WAVA a lot also too, because they're a social worker in that area. But come back for that. And Gary, who just came in, I'm going to be on his stream on Friday night, raising money the exact same way. That's not what I want to do. You guys don't want to see my Facebook. Anyways, that said, but here's one of the things I love. I don't play DCC, MCC. What can Tales from the Smoking Worm provide for me in my game? This, if you are making a system-specific OSR or supplemental piece that has broad application, should always be on your page. If you're doing 5th edition stuff, this should be on your page to tell people what they're going to get. How about stellar content, wonderful random tables, system agnostic ideas? Many, if not all of our articles can be used in non-DCC, by non-DCP players with minimal translation fuss. In fact, over 90% of our content is usable for any OSR system with literally no translation. Don't believe us? How about listening to our reviews? And then they go into what are people saying about this. This is 100% what you should be doing. This is a very simple, very direct project. I buy a lot of OSR supplements. Like I do. I love digging through OSR crap. It's a really smart use of the there's a lot of great things that you can pull out of that. And Questing Beast just did a really great conversation with some people from Magpie and Cloven Pine Games that was talking about where story games and OSR meet each other. If you haven't gone to check out Ben's very small channel compared to ours, then you should go check it out. It was actually a very, very good conversation with a bunch of different cool people. Anyways, just some really cool stuff. Again, I want to encourage people, if you haven't checked this out, they've been doing them fairly regularly. I feel like it's been about one every 6 to 8 months. Tales from the Smoking Worm. I will probably come back and back this at some level. I will probably go digital, but also just, I love the art. Like I love the hatching. I love the look of old school art. A lot of really cool stuff here. The RPG printing spree, which has just really kind of nice, the RPG printing spree, right? Like sounds like something Edgar Allan Poe would have written from a flow standpoint. Maybe. So it was really just like, we want to put these projects out on shelves. They're projects that most of which have already funded, have already been in print, but how do we put them back out into circulation? And so it's a couple people, designers who I really like, who have got together to do just that thing. So we've got Borrow Keep, Den of Spies, which I dumbly backed at a digital only level. Like I didn't back Borrow Keep at a physical level. So I either have to go buy a copy somewhere else on the internet, or I can back this right now. Short Sword, Bone Marshes, and Patron's Cookbook, right? So they also have some stretch goal ones that they're going to be putting into print also too. The 3 things I really want from this: I really want Borrow Keep, I really want Short Sword, I really want Clink. I like these other books also too, but those are the ones that I actually really want. And I'm very, very excited about. The Patron's Cookbook looks actually very, very cool. Great budget layout on this project. I love the visual, like here's where things are actually going. And then the stretch goals kind of doing this concept of like, here are the things we're going to be able to unlock as we go down, but here's kind of what they're classified in, is really cool. And their pledge levels are great, but there's also just a really great team. I've got a chance to interact with these people a lot, most of these people a lot. Richard has come on and ran Chronicles of the Spelljammer for us. I've got to do a little bit of remote work, crossover projects with David, and also just love the work that David does on their blog. And then Jared and I are working on a special project right now that I'll tell you guys about at the end of the broadcast, and some of you already secretly know about. But this is just a really cool kind of combined project with a team of great creators that I love. That's really just like, hey, we want to get these books back out into circulation. Can you help us do that? And I think it's absolutely a great thing. I love it when people who had kind of have this similar need are able to come together on a project like this, and it's already funded. It's got 5 days to go. It'll more than likely fund, but I'd encourage you, if you're into OSR, if you're into zine culture, if you want to look at some really great projects right now, check out the RPG printing spree also too. All right, Rascals. Rascals just launched digitally. It was a Kickstarter for Zine Quest 3. It achieved first blood on my wallet this last Zine Quest. It was the first game that I backed because, Giles is in Australia and could launch it when we were all like getting ready for dinner the night before, and still have it be in February. So Rascals is a science fiction tabletop role-playing game of action and adventure. The game system uses traditional playing cards, poker chips, and is designed to bring the tension, twists, and fortune of calculated gambles to actions. You are rascals, ex-special forces, spies, crooks, hard-boiled types who are working together in the hottest zones during the former unpleasantness. You were some of the few that managed to get out, make a new life, but something has changed that. And now you're getting back together for one last job. It's a great project. It's got solid poker mechanics. Would really encourage people to check this out. It just launched digitally. There will be print copies that are on their way right now to Giles in Australia. I backed this one digitally only, so I've already got everything that this offers. But I'm very excited about the project. And if you missed it in Zine Quest, hop on it if you want to. I discovered this one yesterday. I purchased it. It's called In Every Generation. I as somebody who has a theology background, I love seeing games that embrace different aspects of different world religions, specifically Judaism, as far as storytelling and narrative games go. I saw a creator post this one up yesterday and said, hey, could I feature this on my stream tomorrow? So I don't know if you're out there watching right now, Yona, but I'm super excited about your game. I downloaded it earlier. In the Passover Seder, we have it, which is, by the way, like Passover is next week, right? So this is a great time. I'm looking forward to playing this game next week. In the Passover Seder, we have a saying: in every generation, it's necessary for every person to see themselves as having personally fled Egypt as a player, leader, and designer of role-playing games, as well as a Jewish person. This saying speaks to me on a very deep and personal level. This is me reading the page, not me speaking as me. What does it mean to see ourselves as if we have fled Egypt? And every generation is a minimalist story building and role-playing game / ritual. The whole game is documented on one double-sided page with additional page of songs. The game is heavily influenced by stories like Cloud Atlas, where the same archetypes of characters and situations are echoed through the ages. You might play the first scene in a sword and sandals fantasy version of the Roman Empire, the next in a dystopian Weird West, and the next in a super futuristic sci-fi world. The only limits are your imagination. So it's taking the Seder ritual and moving it across different genres and timelines in an exploration of what it means to think about yourself as being a Jew fleeing Egypt. Do you need to be Jewish to play? And this is the thing, like, representative play is very important. It's one of the reasons I asked the creator, can I feature this? Like, I'm not a Jew. I want to make sure it was okay. He said, no, there should be at least one person familiar enough with Passover, the Exodus, and Judaism to lead the overall experience, which I've done a number of Seders before, so I would feel comfortable with. There is no requirement that you or your character be Jewish. Can I play this game as part of a Seder? Yes, the game ritualizes all the major moments from the Seder, from the Kaddish, the Urchaz, and all the way to the, I'm going to mess this part up, the Nears Up. You can use the Haggadah with it, along with in every generation text to fill in the blessing and songs that take place between sections. And then how to reach out if you have questions, right? Like this is so good. This is such a it's such like a good crystalline moment of like it's also launching right now. Like, this is a thing that's happening next week, and you should play. And how we participate in Seder, and unfortunately, like a lot of the desire for Christians to take the Seder and make it a thing without the permission of Jewish people, without the tradition and the ritual that is so beautiful and explicit to it. It's such a shame. This is such an interesting take in creative reality on something that I have just fallen in love with the idea of. Like, I love participating in Seders. I only do them when invited by Jewish people. I don't try to represent them as something that is part of my culture, even if parts of my culture are influenced by it. But I also just love the like next level, like take it to any time zone, anytime flavor, anytime whatever you want. If you're a Brain Trust member, this would actually be a cool thing if anybody wants to just figure out a time to play next week, maybe on a Wednesday or something. I'd be totally down to play this with anybody, but like it's a little bit easier to organize in the trust. All right, let's keep on going. We're doing pretty good on time right now. A Gouda day. A Gouda day to bite hard. Our friend MV, who apparently I'm not following yet. The mice have to infiltrate a cafe and steal the big wheel of Gouda from the kitchen, but the mice are not the only ones interested in the pantry. This pamphlet contains a flowchart style map of the kitchen, 3 factions of kitchen dwellers, and counter tables for various areas of the map. It's meant to act as a toolkit for a mini campaign or an episode in a larger setting. Black and white printer-friendly versions available. Special thanks in no particular order to Chris, Jason, Jeremy, Ava, and Clayton. Layout inspired by the awesome maps for ingredient dispense module for Mothership. It's basically a Mouse's mega dungeon, but in a page and a half. The name is great. A Gouda date to bite hard, which is just phenomenal. If you haven't checked this out, MV's a phenomenal person who I absolutely love. I've gotten to play a number of games with, sit down, chat to. It's published using the Mouse Ritter third-party license also too. So it's designed to be played with Mouse Ritter. Yeah, the layout on it's good. I can't buy it right now because then, well, no, actually, I think they've changed the way it works. Hold on. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's buy it right now because you guys don't see my PayPal information. If I do this real quick. And my internet is going slow. I click pay now. All right. Send me back to itch to complete that purchase. Let's download it. Let's download it, take a look at it. Downloads. We got a little bit of time. It's a good day. Gorgeous, right? Ba-da-da-da-da-da. So good. Don't screenshot this and use it as a way to not buy the game. All right, we'll go ahead. Okay, so this is I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna do it wrong. Kanabo. Kanabo. If anybody knows and can spell it phonetically in chat, go ahead and hit me up with that. By the way, if you haven't yet, go ahead and type !mask in. Only do it one time. Don't do it numerous times. If you want to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask by Jeff Storber, you can also check that game out right below my face. This is another itch funding project. They're actually using this kind of funding timeline here. I haven't backed it yet. I haven't actually looked at this project. I've opened it up numerous times. Keep on meaning to cut back to it. I found it on the itch funding card site, which we'll talk about in a second. This ttrpg is temporarily more expensive. Learn more. Kanoba is a rules-light pen and paper fantasy role-playing game set loosely in Tokugawa era Japan and based on iconic sword fighting genre set in that time period with cultural consulting by James Mendez Hodes. Love Mendez. This is a digital-only copy for now, pair of zines at $1,000. The game will be fully funded for a print run. With the 21-page player handbook, you'll find a series of tools for lightweight play, Chronicles and Timer, and then you'll have a Chronicler's book also too. And here's specifically what it's paying for, the print run, the consultation, and everything else that goes into it. Paying themselves $360, which is 7 cents a word, $240 to James, which is a super important part of the fee, and then the $400 print roll. Potential stretch goals at $1,600 paying themselves more, and a print run of a bestiary that's going to go with it. It's based on Christina Stonebush's Brighthammer and John Geary's Sledgehammer. It's an independent work compatible with Sledgehammer and Brighthammer, but not affiliated with Georg or Hive Mind in any way. It is just a gorgeous project, really well laid out. So let's talk about itch funding. You might have heard me say it a couple times this episode or in the past. It's a thing that's becoming more and more common. You can also see, we're going to talk about Dragon Game in just 1 second. Let me find, there we go. You can go to itchfunding.crd.co to check out what itch funding is all about. Keegan, if you need me to pop for a better URL for you, if you want a short link for that, let me know. I'm happy to set you up. It's about projects that are people who are funding projects using itch as the primary platform, which does a large number of things. I think at the end of next month, I'm going to try to get everybody who I know who's been itch funding on for a panel conversation about itch funding, what's working, what the challenges are, and how people can use the system better going forward. Keegan's on it today. Here are all the currently running itch funding projects, right? That are up right now. They're somewhere in process. They're being done different ways. You can go check them out, see what different people are doing. You can go see the ones that have already finished, right? The Man and the Stag by Bo, that we talked with Bo earlier this week about this project. If you want to go watch that on our channel, you can do that. If you want to contact Keegan, you can just type it in here, contact. Let them know if you're doing an itch funding project. I think itch funding is so good for the industry. I want to see itch funding become like a thing that is like your lead up to your Kickstarter for a print run. Itch funding is a cool idea for, or any funding platform, or just itch funding. All those things are great. Like, I think there's so many great things that can be done when we're actually engaging in this form of the medium. I think Kanobo is a great example of that. I think Anyone Can Wear the Mask is a great example of that. I think The Man and the Stag is a great example of that. I think there's a lot of great things happening with itch funding right now. Let's talk about a game that isn't itch funded, a dragon game. A dragon game is by Chris Bissett. It's our last game for the stream today. Then we're gonna talk about a couple things that are coming up. Dragon game, it's 10 pages, super rules light, endless fun. No money goes to Hasbro, but you can steal their adventures and use them to play. Make stuff you want for this dragon game without having to pay me royalties. If you want, you get the text-only version here. Beautiful game by Chris. Really, really nice. Absolutely fun. Chris is just a phenomenal member of the community, does really cool stuff. And I've really enjoyed reading the dragon game. I've done it like 3 or 4 times, even though it's just an incredibly simple little piece. So let's talk about something cool that is coming up that I'm super excited to announce. Still in kind of soft announcement. Tomorrow, I'm actually sitting down and interviewing somebody who is an important part of this process. But what we're going to talk about is Troika Fest. What is Troika Fest? Troika Fest is an invitation from Plus One EXP and the Melsonian Arts Council for people to come and play Troika on the week between April 5th and April 11th. That's a Monday through a Sunday. We'll have a number of streams. We'll have people who are part of Melsonian Arts Council, other creators who are designers who have done big works for Troika, people who just like the system, other people who are just, fun people to play games with who I'm going to do some live streams with over the course of that week. We're going to partner with Melsonian to give away a bunch of Troika projects. But what we would really encourage is just for you to play Troika, for you to pick up a copy of the game, or if you have already played the game and are just interested and want to play it again, if you've never played the game but want to, which is me. Like, I've never played Troika, which might seem weird because we're doing Troika Fest, but it was actually like they wanted me to cover some of their stuff, and I was like, it's great. I own a ton of Troika books, but I've never played it. And so I was like, hey, I just said, like, I said to the staff at Troika, how would you feel about doing this kind of fest model, right? Like what if we, and they said, well, what would be a fest be? And I said, well, we could do a game jam in the background, and we could do like a week of just focus play, and I'll make content as kind of a background structure, but it's not something anyone has to own. We just launch a hashtag out and some general stuff, and then say, here's the places where you can go engage in Troika Fest. We've got some other fests that we're planning. The goal is to use this as a model for how people can do fests in the future, how a couple of content creators and a publisher could get together to make a fest model. It's something that we'll do probably about 4 to 6 of a year. If I'm ever making enough money to not do other things that I do, we might do more, but the idea of being able to invite people to dive deeply into a system is huge. And so there's Troika Jam, which you can go sign up for right now. It's going to launch on the 1st alongside their Academies of the Arcane Kickstarter. Brian, the designer of Academies of Arcane, and I are doing a conversation tomorrow. He's coming on for Prestige class. I like Anyone Can Wear the Fest the best out of all the Anyone Can Wear the Mask concepts so far. But I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about Fest. If you're a content creator, I would love to talk to you about doing some content that week that we can help cross promote and support. If you are a game designer, I would love to see you making tricky stuff. If you're like, I don't know if I'm a game designer, but I've always wanted to make something for a game, come learn how to do that with Troika. You can do a small little pocket sphere. You can do a background. You can do a D66 list. Anything you want to do during Troika Fest, we have the jam already set up for that. And then we're going to take a lot of that content after the fact, and we're going to put it together in a bundle. It'll be whoever wants to. No one will have to, but anyone who wants to, we'll put it together and we'll release that bundle. And we'll take some money and we'll put that towards a charity that specifically affects people who have been hurt by a certain British author who wants to deny their reality and their experience. So we'll talk more about that later. We've still got to nail down some of the details on that, but that is Troika Fest. Again, that is the 5th through the 11th, though the jam is going to start on the 1st. It's going to accompany the Academies of the Arcane release, but also I have it under good authority, meaning from the creator themselves. We've got Aaron King is going to be releasing some Troika Pogs during the fest also too. If I was not supposed to announce that, Aaron, and you see this later, I am sorry. So anyways, I'm thrilled. I'm excited to see what we can do with this, and to see how people can use this. We will release the equivalent of a Fest SRD afterwards, because the goal is not okay. They're all public knowledge. I'm good. I thought so. I just wasn't sure. We really want Fest to be something that is for everybody. Like the whole concept behind Fest was nobody owns Game Fest, though I probably will make a website for it. The goal will be it's a central place where you can get information, not anyone owns this. Like, I don't own Troika Fest. Melsonian doesn't own Troika Fest. Like, Troika Fest is for the community. Fest RD. And so we're super excited about that. So again, if in whatever way you want to touch it, even if you're just like, I want to play, we're going to have a special Discord channel set up in a place called the Paddle, which is the Discord channel where I put most of my content and host most of my RPG conversations that are public facing and not just with other designers. We'll have some Discord channels set up in there for people to talk about Troika game, organize open play, other stuff like that. We've got phenomenal members of the Melsonian staff, as well as other game designers who have done some great Troika IP, including Chris Bissett, who we talked about, who made the Dragon game earlier, who are going to run some open games for just anybody who wants to play. Like, if you want to play with somebody who's an amazing designer and creator who has done stuff in Troika, you're going to have the opportunity to do that as you're trying it out for the first time. If you need folks to fill seats or an ADF adventure to give away, feel free to hit me up. Josh, shoot me a message on Twitter. Otherwise, I will forget. Everyone loves it. Yeah, it's a great, it will be a great time, and it'll be again, something for everyone. And, it might just be like you check out Troika for the first time, or you watch a live stream. I don't think there's an expectation on how much or little anybody has to do, except for me and the folks at Melsonian, because we're the ones who are going to make that agreement. But if you know somebody out there who you think would enjoy Troika Fest, I'll be popping out some images today or tomorrow that are good for sharing, and link to places where people can find more information about what Troika Fest is, and how to get engaged. But the best way to actually do any of that is just hit follow right here on this channel, or go to subscribe to us on YouTube, which is where most of that information is going to come out, and then to follow us in Melsonian, and use the Troika Fest hashtag. So they shouldn't be, Josh. At me, or with, or I don't know how YouTube. I don't know. We'll figure it out, Josh. At me, and I'll open up my DMs to you, as it were, as it is. So let's see. If you haven't had a chance yet, hey, John DeCampos, if you haven't had a chance yet, type, and you want to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask, go ahead and type in !mask. And actually, it looks like, hold on. Even if you did it already, if you did it before, go ahead and do it again. If you want to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask, do it right now. And then I'm going to use a random number generator to decide who is going to win. So let's do that real quick. !mask if you want to win a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask. Jeff Stormer's hack of Beyond the Rift by D. Pennyway, that's about a superhero protecting the city they love. Absolutely phenomenal. Even if you already did it, I cannot access that part of the stream right now, and so I need everybody to retype it in if you want to win. And so far, only Milestone Play is going to potentially win. Just a reminder, while I'm giving people a chance to do that, please come back and check us out this Saturday night. We are going to be playing DCC hack called Blackout in Crater Valley. It is an 80 horrors themed DCC hack. You play as teenagers in a small town. A comet has appeared overhead, and everybody in the town has started going crazy. Weird things are happening, and you're just trying to survive the night. It's an absolutely phenomenal supernatural horror. We each start out with 4 characters, all of the players, and then as we die, we will be donating more money to WAVA, which is an amazing organization that helps a rape crisis organization that helps support survivors of sexual violence up in BC, I believe it is, Vancouver, British Columbia. If you want to help support that, please come check it out. We'll be dropping more information about that on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook accounts, ways you can support that. If you want to come play with us, if you're somebody who wants to appear on stream, shoot me a message about that. But every single time one of our players falls, we will donate more money, and we will invite other people to do the same. again, this is your last chance. If you want to win a copy of Anyone Who Can Wear the Mask, go ahead and type in !mask right now. I'm still here, don't worry. Just looking for my actual... Man, my thing's got all out of order. All right, here we go. Bleak Horizons, you are winning a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask. Bleak Horizons, reach out to me on Twitter, because I know you can message me there, because we are mutuals, and I will get you set up with that discount code. We want to thank Jeff again. If you have not yet, go buy a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask at the link right down below us. You see the current funding go on there. John DeCampos, you were just a minute too late. I'll see what I can do for you. You're going to help bump this funding goal up. They're getting closer and closer to that 4250 funding goal. That'll help them commission 5 new pre-built example scenarios. Phenomenal game. When I played as the city of New Appleton, talking to my superhero, the weird, about why they were important and why we needed them, I started tearing up. I absolutely started tearing up playing this game. Everybody needs to get a copy of Anyone Can Wear the Mask, and go check it out. We're going to be back in 2 weeks with our next episode of Backer Quest. We'll be here tomorrow talking to Brian about the Academies of the Arcane Troika book that launches on April 1st, as well as what it means to design for Troika, designing the Rake Hell system, and all of Brian's different influences. Brian is a phenomenal designer that we're really excited to have here for our next episode of Prestige Class. Come back tomorrow for that. Saturday, we have the Streaming for Survivals. I will be appearing on Fresh Out the Box Friday night on their Streaming for Survivors stream also too. Just trying to raise money to support different people who are survivors of sexual assault and violence. So please come help support both of those great initiatives. And then next week, we're going to have a lot of stuff coming out about Troika Fest. Keep an eye out for that, both here on the channel as well as in other places. We're going to have Wheels from Dicebreaker on for a conversation about their game, The House Doesn't Always Win, and a number of other cool conversations coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks leading into Troika Fest. And then I'm going to actually I'm going to take like 4 days off of everything after Troika Fest, except for working on writing games and making stuff that I love. But I also love y'all. So thanks for showing up today, everybody who was here. Time exactly. Time off. If you actually, you know what, I'm gonna throw out one more project. I went and backed it last night. Let me see if I can find it. Ancient Undead Spiderwizard. There we go. Ancient Undead Spiderwizard has already funded. You can pre-order it right now. Pre-order Ancient Undead Spiderwizard. What is Ancient Undead Spiderwizard? It's an OSR dungeon with a lot of dungeon accompanying music that my good friend Jeff, also known as Fish in the Pot, put out. It is now on pre-orders right now. I bought a record player yesterday so I could listen to this and all the other dumb dungeon records that I've gotten. And I think you should go check it out also too, and pre-order a copy if you haven't yet. This music that we're about to hear coming up as I jam out for the day is by Bats, our good friend John Battle. It's from the Dot Dungeon soundtrack. This is Hometown. And we will see y'all next time we see you. I took that from Vi, but I won't do it all the time.